his continued recovery. So continue to pray for him. But he was very disappointed not to be able to be here again this year, and he passed along his greetings to everyone. So, and then, yeah, all right. So are we ready, Ruth? We're all right. So this is our administrative session for the mid-year. So go ahead and go to the program book where we have our events and reminders. And we're just going to go through this real quick and then talk about a few other things in the book. But this is kind of a little bit of the roadmap for the rest of the year as far as things you need to keep in mind. All right, so first of all, we're going to be finishing up the second half of our workshops. So we have a workshop next Wednesday. So I know it's because we're delayed in our conference this year. It's a little closer to the workshop date, but nonetheless, we will have our on-site workshop on the 26th, and then on February 23rd, March 23rd. And I encourage you as much as you can to be able to participate in those. It's a great opportunity to just to be encouraged and to fellowship and all those things. And of course, we do live stream as much as we can of that as well. So keep that in note. And then the Eastern Shore workshops, of course, are also happening February 9th, March 9th, and April 6th. So that's great. If you have high school students who are interested in participating in the Legislative Intern Day, Gary is still planning, Lord willing, to be able to do that next week if he's feeling up to it. But if you haven't done that before, it's a great opportunity to actually get some practical experience. You all heard Mr. Shell today talk about the importance of experience. Experience teaches you so much, more than anything you could ever read in a book or even hear someone else talk about. When you go and experience how things work and see with your own eyes how things function, and that's what Legislative Intern Day helps you be able to do. You actually get to spend time with Gary. Gary, he doesn't use this title, this identity much, but Gary was effectively a lobbyist for many, many years down in Annapolis. And he's someone who has engaged and interacted with government officials for his entire professional life. And he continues to do that as he's able. So when you get to go down to Annapolis with him and spend time actually learning how that process goes and stuff, it's just a great opportunity. So anyway, that's coming up this Thursday, January 27th. So if you have any students who are interested in participating, you need to let us know as soon as possible, and we'll work out those details. All right, I think you all knew the first semester ended just a couple days ago on the 15th, and we need to have reports in by the 31st. Hopefully that's not news to anybody. That's a pretty familiar date. And of course, you have your record books or your reporting forms are also available online. So last year, we introduced the Frederick Stars and Stripes, which is our clay target shooting team. And that's still going on. We haven't had a huge participation from our side of things, but it's still going on. And it's not just our students. We're the sponsoring school. So there are other people, obviously, in the community and in Frederick County who are able to participate. But we have had a couple students who participated. Anyway, the registration for that opens on February 1st and then runs for about a month and a half. So if you're interested in participating in that, you can see a little bit further into the program book the information for that. And then our coach is Coach Chuck Farmer. He's still coaching, and you can contact him directly if you have any specific questions about that, but that is going on. So there's that. Testing is coming up. So we've got our Iowa assessment coming up on March 9th. And of course, if you are in 8th grade, if you have a student in 8th grade, that's mandatory. And also the high school orientation is. But we do have it available for as early as 3rd grade. So that's coming up, and that will be both here and on the Eastern Shore. And while I'm on that topic, I'm going to jump over real quickly to item number 9, the SAT in-school testing day. So if you have a student who's 11th or 12th grade, we are administering the SAT again on Tuesday, April 26th, and need to have your registration for that as soon as possible so we know how many tests to order and that sort of thing. So that's, again, specifically for 11th and 12th graders, only for students enrolled in the academy program. So that's what that's about. All right, go back to number 7. So we're really excited. We've got our field trip roster this year, and Dawn has done a great job coordinating that, and we're just really excited to have field trips back. So we've got, at this point, we've got 5 field trips for the remainder of the year, and I'm just going to go through this real quick, just draw your attention to them. And then in your program book, so don't lose your program book. Take it home and use it, because there's all kinds of good information in here. But there is this information, the Wcfs Winter and Spring 2022 field trips. This is all the information for these field trips, including websites and what Dawn's recommending you bring, and her contact information, etc. So hang on to that. But on the 18th, we're going to be going to Deer Run Farm, which I think is an old favorite. I think you guys have been there a few times. I've never been there, but so that's going on the 18th. And then I'm going to come back to number 8 because that's a little bit different situation. But go ahead and look at number 10. There's going to be a field trip to downtown Frederick, walking tour and treasure hunt. I'm partial to that one because that's our hometown, and we love downtown Frederick. So we probably have the inside track. I don't know, probably not. But so that's on April 8th, and then there's going to be one on April 22nd at Catoctin Mountain Park Explore and Hike, which I think is Hog Trail. Is that what it is? Yeah. So we've got that going on, and then the last one is going to be, or actually not the last one, there's going to be another one at the Catoctin Wildlife Preserve, the zoo, off of 15 on May 13th. And then we also are hopefully going to go to the Frederick Airport. And I see David who's excited back there. And that's going to be on May 27th. And we're working on details yet for that as far as specifics, but it looks like probably the 27th of May. And then I am going to jump back to number 8. So it says here, field trip, Frederick Douglass walking tour in Baltimore. Okay, so we're working on the details for this, and hopefully we can make it happen. But some of you know who are in our class, we are reading Frederick Douglass, right? So our Biblical Foundation of Self-Government class right now is Proverbs, and we're reading the autobiography of Frederick Douglass. So I was super excited when I got an email a couple weeks ago from this organization, this company down in Baltimore that does these tours. They do historic and also boat rides out into the harbor and stuff like that. And but they have these historic walking tours that they do in Baltimore, and I couldn't believe it. They have this special, brand new little tour that they do specifically for Frederick Douglass in Baltimore. And where are my students? Y'all remember, was Frederick Douglass in Baltimore ever? Okay, good. Yeah, glad you remember that. So they only do them by appointment. So we would have to arrange with them to do it. It is a little more expensive, and you can see actually in your program book, if you flip through, I'm sorry I didn't put page numbers on the thing, but it looks like this. And so basically it's $12 per student. They're recommending basically 4th grade and up is their recommendation. And I'm really encouraging all my students in our class to really consider it. If you want to go, please. And then if anybody else is interested, let us know. But it's $12 per student, $18 per adult. They basically need a $250 minimum in order to do a group. But they'll work with us as far as size and... Anyway, it looks like, I think they have one specific guide who's developed this. And based on looking into what they've presented and stuff like that, it seems like it's really good. And just, how can I say this? You just never know what you're going to get with historical presentations, I guess, these days. But my sense of this is that this is very much historically based. They want to have people just understand Frederick Douglass lived in Baltimore, and there's all these cool places that you can actually go and experience, and the fact that we have been studying him just seemed like it was too much of an opportunity not to pass up. So tentatively we have that slated for March 30th, which is a Wednesday, and at this point I'm hoping that we can arrange it that maybe we will have class in the morning because that's one of our scheduled class days, and then actually be able to go down in the afternoon and do a tour. It's about, they say about a 90-minute tour, about an hour and a half, and I think it's about 3 miles is the walking distance. So anyway, if you are interested in that at all, I at this point have just let them know we have people who are interested in doing it, and we know what the price is and the amount of people and age and all that. They said more than a month in advance trying to schedule something would be adequate. So I feel like we've got some time to work it out, but if you can let me know as soon as you can if that's something you'd be interested in doing, that would be awesome. So all right, so that's that. Go ahead and everybody turn to the page in your program books that says 3 events. 3 events. Everybody see that? 3 events. Saturday, May 7th. This has really become a really fun event. We have really enjoyed this. As you know, we had our expo at the fairgrounds for many, many years, and that's unfortunately not been able to happen, especially with well, yeah, lots of different circumstances. But we've been doing this now. This will be, I think, our 3rd year doing it on site here, and we've been able to combine it with a field day and picnic, and it's become just a really special time. So it's a ways off yet, but May's going to be here before you know it, and there's a lot of things that relate to Expo that are important because we end up doing the Expo here, and you all have some projects that have to be in the Expo and everything. So get it on your calendar, and we've tried to make this event open to other people. So if you have other friends or people you know are interested in homeschooling, let them know about it. It's a great opportunity. It's almost, I guess in a sense, a little bit like an open house. But anyway, so have that on your calendars. So that's the 3 events: the homeschool, expo, and field day and picnic. And I lost my spot. All right, great. So, and then of course we're going to be talking about graduation later, so we don't need to get into all that now. 2nd semester reviews will be coming up later this spring in April, May, and then of course the end of the semester is on May 27th, and then records are due by June 30th. So anyway, hopefully that at least sounds somewhat familiar to you, but you can get those events on your calendars. You actually have a calendar that has most of those events on them. The field days you'll have to pencil in because those are more newly scheduled. All right, and then starting in your program book, go ahead and if you find the Frederick Stars and Stripes and turn the page, just basically have information here. I like to put this stuff in because we get this kind of information and it's fun to pass along. But there are local and more regional events and attractions and things that we've found valuable. Tim mentioned George Washington today, and Mount Vernon is a really awesome place to go. And a couple years ago, someone told me about how Mount Vernon always has free admission on George Washington's birthday. And actually this year they're doing it 2 days in a row. So they're doing it actually on President's Day, the 21st is free admission, and then on his actual birthday is free admission as well. So you do have to order tickets, even though you don't have to pay anything for them, but you have to reserve them online in advance. So, and Mount Vernon is just if you haven't ever been there, is anybody who hasn't been? If you haven't been, it's just first rate, and they do such a good job. They're one of those places that I feel really has an incredibly good balance of recognizing the unique contribution that people like Washington have made in, but they're not afraid to also talk about some of the things that are a little more controversial, like slavery. They have one of the best presentations I've seen at a historical site about slavery that I've ever encountered. Just handle it really well. So it's a great place. It's a beautiful place. So we just like letting people know that something that's relatively close by is available. And then Colonial Williamsburg, we're always hearing from them. They've got their homeschool days, February 26th. To March 6th is the most, the newest or the most, can't think of the right word, impending date. So there's that. And then we already talked about Frederick Douglass and our expo. I haven't talked about these things a lot, but I do try to put this information out there. So we regularly hear from organizations that have scholarship opportunities, and especially you high school students are trying to figure some of that out. And anytime there's an opportunity for a relatively, dare I say, easy way to at least try to get a scholarship, if you know, they have these essay contests, and there's a couple institutions around us that do these annual essay contests, and one of them is the Star Spangled Banner House down in Baltimore. They do this every year. They have a writing contest, so you can read the information about that. I know that a homeschool student has won at least once because I read about it. So they're not stacked against you, and you know, anyway, all I say is it's out there. You know, that's a pretty good scholarship, $1,812 that for writing a 350-word essay. 350 words is not that many, so it's a good opportunity, and you know, it doesn't cost you anything. Just submit it. And then this is the third year that we've gotten this really interesting essay contest from Gettysburg College. Now, Gettysburg College is not a bastion of what we would say Christian conservative thinking. However, I find it really interesting. They've started this contest 3 years ago. It's called the Georg Lieber Essay Contest on Resistance, which when I first got this, I was kind of like, what is this? What is this? Now, you can think back 3 years ago, kind of what the political climate was, and I was kind of wondering, like, okay, well, what is this? But to their credit, from what I can tell, this is a really neat thing because it's dedicated. It's from their Jewish Studies Committee at the Gettysburg College, and it's honored for this young man, Georg Lieber. And I don't know what the particular connection is to Gettysburg College that they've done this, but this is a guy who was part of the French Resistance. He was a Jew, part of the French Resistance, and he was killed. He was killed at Auschwitz after being captured, etc. So it's interesting. They talk about this idea of resistance, and from a Christian perspective, there is all kinds of interesting things that you could talk about. And they've continued to doing this, you know, through the changes in, you know, political administrations and whatever. So I think they give a lot of different ideas of what you could talk about. But anyway, bottom line is it's another local contest. I mean, again, a first prize, $1,000. I mean, for writing an essay, you know, it's there. So those are two things that are due. They're taking submissions in March. And then the Horatio Alger Association, we've been getting stuff from them for years and years and years, and I really need to brush up on the historical situation with that, but that goes back a long time, and their idea of trying to assist students who potentially could use some help if they're planning on going to college. And anyway, they've shifted their focus this year. It used to be they were just doing it for seniors, but they've actually shifted it now for this year. They're focusing on juniors. So if you're a junior, you can apply for that. And anyway, so that's that. So scholarships are great opportunities to help towards different things, and if if you have high school students who've already been looking into this, you know the benefit that they can be. And as Christians, I feel like it's always great to see, how can I say this, because I'm not getting into a discussion on student aid, but I think there is something great about seeking out when a private organization or entity has specifically said, we want to help people who have a vision for what they're going to do. And there's something, in my mind, very valuable about going and saying, hey, I'll give it a shot. And taking up private entities rather than just the government on those kind of offers. So anyway. And plus, the Star Spangled Banner House contest and this Gettysburg College, it's an opportunity to hone your writing skills and also to communicate truth to potentially a wider audience and take a position on something that maybe other people aren't hearing about. And even if you don't win, it's good practice, and you could turn it into, incorporate it into the stuff that you're already doing. All right, so lastly, in your book, just drawing attention to the fact we do have a radio program. So Dan is also doing a scholarship. So it's a delegate scholarship for up to $10,000 and a direct grant for college, and he's requiring an essay on Solzhenitsyn's book, The Gulag Archipelago. No one knows what I just said. So, yeah, I'm looking at my time. I better not get into that. Alexander Solzhenitsyn is a really, really important author. He was from basically a defector from the Soviet Union. He spent time actually in Stalin's concentration camps, and which is what that book is about. So, anyway, so a delegate scholarship from Dan. So, and then he gives out $50,000 a year. Average award is $2,500, and best essay gets $10,000. So, I'll try to coordinate with him to get some additional information I can maybe send out. Anyway, so there's an example. These kinds of things are available, and sometimes it's just a matter of getting the information out there. So that's why I put it in the book, so you will know about it, and so on. Anyway, we have a radio program, and we're trying to do better at getting that information out to you in a little more digestible form. So the radio station that we partner with, WTHU, does a great job of putting our broadcast into podcast form. So, you know, at this point, what we're sending out to you, you should be able to just download that recording right onto your phone or whatever, and you can listen to it. But we are trying to get back into getting our recorded content that's a little more recent onto the program. So, all right, so it's 11 o'clock, and that means it's time to move on. So your next assigned places, we're going to be showing a video from Becky, recorded this week specifically for you. She's not able to be here in person, but we'll be doing that. And then dads will be over in the office with Tim for a special dads meeting there. And then at 12 o'clock, we're going to have a special ribbon cutting ceremony for our new wheelchair lift. And we're delighted because Nana actually is going to make a special appearance today, and she's going to, she'll be our ribbon cutter, and then she'll take the first ride up. So we're excited about that. That's a project that's been in process for a long time, and we'll talk more about that later. Anyway, so right now, Mom's here, and students, you're welcome to either hang out here or you can come and be in the dad's meeting. So whatever is your choice. All right, so I'm going to end it there.